I'm Vardha Sharma, editor Newsband, daily English newspaper of Navi Mumbai. Today we have with us Dr. Sanjay Mukherjee, who is the Vice Chairman and Managing Director of the City and Industrial Development Corporation. He is an IAS officer of 1996 batch of Maharashtra cadre. Before joining CIDCO on 19th August 2020, he worked as Additional Commissioner Projects Mumbai. He has also worked as Chairman of Nagpur Improvement Trust, Chairman and MD of Maharashtra State Mining Corporation. He was Additional Commissioner at Nagpur Municipal Corporation, Commissioner at Jalgaon Municipal Corporation, and many other posts. Welcome, sir, once again to Newsband.
Namaste.
Sir, first of all, first question that I would like to ask is that we have heard that you have designed a number of projects. Can you please tell us a little bit about that?
See, in the course of my career, I was very lucky that I was associated with the infrastructural sector of the government at a very early phase. So in 2003, I was appointed as a joint MD of a new company, which today everybody knows it's the Maharashtra Airport Development Company. And at that point of time, from the managing director to the peon, we were 7 people. And the Honorable Chief Minister was and continues till this date to be the chairman of that company. So the Nagpur Mihan project, which includes the Nagpur Airport and also the special economic zone around it, which has now developed substantially. So I started my work with that, and I was involved in the designing of that project, in making sub-projects out of that project, the land acquisition, the rehabilitation. And my association with that project went on as a collector of Nagpur later, and also as the chairman of NIT. Now, NIT is an organization which is very similar to CIDCO, just as CIDCO has developed the city of Navi Mumbai and is now developing the neighboring areas. Nagpur Improvement Trust has developed the city of Nagpur and handed it over to the corporation. And now it is developing the surrounding areas of Nagpur. So I had the opportunity of working there for 3-4 years. And when I was doing that, I was the chairman of Maharashtra State Mining Corporation as well. So that used to look after mines. And it was also at that time, Government of India allotted some mines to us, which were to be used for coal mines, which were to be used for electricity production. So I had worked with the electricity department very closely with that. So I had that opportunity to be associated with these projects at a very early phase of my career. Later on, I became the state excise commissioner. So that time I implemented a infrastructural project for that department called as Maha Excise, which was essentially a full IT supply chain management of the excise department. And I'm happy to tell you at that time, when I started, the revenues were 5,500 crores. And when I left, we had a revenue of 12,400 crores. So that was the jump in a span of 4 to 4 years. Of course, after that, I had the fortune of, being the additional municipal commissioner at the BMC. And at that time, I was fortunate that the Honorable Municipal Commissioner and all the others thought that I would be the appropriate person to handle the larger projects. So I looked after the Mumbai Coastal Road project, which we actually redesigned, reconceptualized, and also the Mumbai Sewerage Disposal project, and also the solid waste management projects. So the Mumbai Coastal Road project, as you see, which is being executed now, and almost 40% of the work is done. So I was involved in the full conceptualization, designing, and project development of that project. And the Mumbai Sewerage Disposal project, of which the Kolaba sewage treatment plant is today complete. It is, it is working. Some pumping stations at Vallabh Nagar, etc., are complete. Some pumping station works are ongoing. So I had the opportunity of, being involved with that. And further on, we did what is called as a Mumbai Sewerage Improvement Project, where we wanted to connect the entire city of Mumbai by underground sewerage tunnels and provide street connections everywhere. So that is another thing which I was involved with. And of course, the waste to energy project, the closure of the balloon dumping ground. So I had the opportunity of handling all these projects right from beginning till the execution. I was also very lucky that I got to execute the closure of the Middle Vetarna Dam, the Middle Vetarna project, which envisaged a construction of a dam. And after the construction of a dam, it envisaged the, water supply, 2 tunnels, water supply tunnels, which we executed and which we started. And of course, the, distribution system following that. So that is something which was done. So I had that opportunity. And after that, I had the opportunity to serve the state during the COVID pandemic. So I was Secretary of Medical Education at that time. And when we started, the state did not have, or rather, nobody knew anything about COVID. So I had the good opportunity at that time. We could build one hospital a day and a lab a day, COVID diagnostic lab a day. The state, from being a mask, protective equipment, etc., deficient state, we became a net exporter by the time the first wave was over. So now I think I've been very lucky to be associated with CIDCO, which is an organization which is entirely into development. The core activity of CIDCO is to develop, and it is doing work not only in Navi Mumbai but also in neighboring areas of Navi Mumbai, Palghar, Aurangabad, Nanded, Nagpur, Nasik, and so many places. And this organization has a checkered history of building, some of the finest cities that the Republic of India has, not just the state of Maharashtra. So that my career has generally been on this ground, and I hope to take it forward that way.
Sir, as we are talking about COVID-19, as we know, COVID-19 pandemic has hugely impacted the development projects all over the globe. And CIDCO's projects may have also received some setback. So how are the progress of new townships progressing?
See, the COVID pandemic was bad, and it hit CIDCO's projects very badly. Initially, there was a lockdown. And after the lockdown, there was this mass migration of the migrant laborers. So all the works absolutely came to a standstill. But I think, out of every difficulty lies an opportunity. And I would say that we at CIDCO have responded reasonably well to that difficulty. So CIDCO's work is now substantially online. So we frequently take meetings on video conference. The e-filing system would have been in existence since 2010 or 11, but that e-filing system has become a reality today. So during the pandemic, for instance, we told people that if you want to meet, we can't meet you physically, but we can meet you electronically. And there were many people who took that opportunity, so we could meet people electronically. So that happened. But the works actually stopped. And it was really bad. But after that, we have been able to recover. And I'm pretty much satisfied now. See, all the projects are ongoing. They are going at full steam. In the phase 2, by the time we went to the second wave of the pandemic, the norms were substantially defined. And government issued norms for construction projects. Government issued norms for ways of working in office. And government issued norms of field activity. And once those norms were in place, it was easy for the agencies which were involved in the execution to execute the projects. And therefore, during the phase 2 of the pandemic, none of the works were stopped. The works went on. So the metro project, the airport project, the housing projects, the projects of the new towns, all of them went on. So there was a gap, and there has been a difficulty. They cannot be denying that. But I think we have been able to do the best that we could possibly do during that time.
The residents or the citizens of Navi Mumbai are eagerly waiting for the Navi Mumbai International Airport. How is the work progressing, and when can we expect the commencement of the first and the second phase of NMIA?
Well, we appraised the board of directors about the Navi Mumbai International Airport in the previous board. And the fact of that matter is this, that there are two partners in this project. One is CIDCO, which is supposed to do certain works, and one is the concessionaire, which is supposed to do certain works. CIDCO's work is land acquisition, rehabilitation, resettlement, and development of the land, and to provide that land in a plug-and-play fashion. That is, it has to be given, the ready-made land has to be given to the concessionaire for taking up the work. The concessionaire's job is to build the airport on that land. So 50% almost of the work will be done by CIDCO. Remaining work is to be done by the concessionaire. And it is a concessionaire's job to operate the airport. Now the airport is divided into two phases. Phase 1 envisages some 10 million passengers. That is and then phase 2, so there are two phases of the airport, and the concession agreement envisages completion of the phase 1. Phase 2 is to be taken by the concessionaire as and when he feels that the time is right to have a phase 2. So that is the thing. Now, in the case of this airport, CIDCO's part is complete. The land acquisition is now complete. The pre-development works are almost complete. Yeah, they are like 99% complete. The rehabilitation is almost complete. And yeah, the diversion of the Ulve river, etc. So all those works are almost complete now. From the concessionaire side, there was an issue because GVK Group, which was looking after which was a concessionaire earlier, was not able to achieve financial closure, and it was also not able to complete the work, and therefore it was in patra vyavahar, as they call it, with CIDCO, and what was moving was paper. But later on, the debt of GVK was purchased by Adani Airport Limited, Adani Airport Holdings Limited, and they then requested Government of India to give them permissions to do a debt equity swap. And similarly, they approached the Government of Maharashtra and requested the Government of Maharashtra for a debt equity swap. So Government of India, various agencies of Government of India, like the Bombay Stock Exchange, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, the Competition Commission, the Union Home Ministry for the security clearance, the Civil Aviation Ministry, Airport Authority of India, etc. So they gave their clearances, and Government of Maharashtra also examined the entire matter. And ultimately, in public interest, Government of Maharashtra, through its cabinet, decided to allow the debt equity swap. And after that, Adani Airport Holdings Limited took over the equity of the GVK. And today, they are the majority stakeholder in the Navi Mumbai International Airport. And they have started their part of the work now. CIDCO has given them the commencement certificate for doing that work. So we have approved the building plan, and we have given them the commencement certificate. And the matter has been reviewed in the Pragati meeting, which is chaired by the Honorable Prime Minister. And in that Pragati, before that, more than 20 meetings have been taken by the Minister, by the Secretary of Civil Aviation, and several meetings by the Honorable Chief Secretary of the State. And now various stages of the project have been, very micro planning has been done. So we have broken down that project into very small parts. And after breaking them into very small parts, we have decided deadlines for each of them. And while setting these deadlines, we have consulted every stakeholder. So by doing that, now the commercial COD, jisko kehte hai, that commercial operation date, that is the date the first commercial flight will take off. That is 31st of December 2024. So just 3 years down the line, that is the way we expect the airport to happen. Now that it is a plug-and-play project, and so I am very confident that, and I'm very hopeful that the airport will happen by that time. So that is the update, and it looks all on track.
And how about Navi Mumbai Metro? Because we are seeing that there is quite a good progress going on with Navi Mumbai Metro. So when can we expect the first metro to move, to start moving in Navi Mumbai?
So Navi Mumbai Metro, we started in 2011, but last year we took a decision that we need more expertise, and we roped in Maha Metro. Maha Metro is the only company which is actually in Maharashtra, which is actually operating a metro. So they have constructed the Nagpur Metro, and they're operating the Nagpur Metro. It is a company which is 50% owned by Government of India, 50% owned by Government of Maharashtra, and the chairman of the board of directors is the Union Secretary of Housing. He's the chairman of that company. So we have chosen Maha Metro as our engineer to this project, and now, well, the work is almost done, and we are now in a sea of getting clearances one by other. So the latest clearance that we got was the RDSO speed certificate. And after the RDSO speed certificate, what remains is the inspection by the Commissioner of Railway Security. And we have made our application to that office, and we are waiting for that date. Once the Commissioner of Railway Security, he does his railway safety, I beg your pardon, railway safety. Once he does his testing, and then he gives his inspection note, then we are supposed to comply with it, inform the railway board, and then we can start the operation of that of the metro. So essentially, it is a matter of the CCRS to come and inspect. And once that inspection is done, then within a month we should be good to go. We have also appointed Maha Metro as the operator of the project because they have experience in this work. The key reason which I feel is that these are highly technical things. And it takes time to build up expertise. And if you are running against time, then you don't have time to build up that expertise. So it's better to take that expertise from someone else and work in partnership. And I'm hopeful that this partnership with Mahametro, given their experience in Nagpur, and now they are doing work of the Pune Metro as well, so will be successful. And we shall see as soon as the CCRS, inspection is over. Very soon we should be good to go.
Any tentative date for that?
Well, we have set for ourselves the year end as a target.
Okay.
That is what we have put for ourselves. But, I can't tell the regulator that you come at this time. The regulator has his seniority list, and the CCRS is a regulator for the entire country. And he not only inspects the metro, but he also inspects all the railway lines. So as and when we will come in their, in their seniority list, जैसे हमारा number आएगा, so they will conduct the study. But we are very confident that whatever we have done, that will meet the thing. For instance, the RDSO has given us a speed certificate of 80 kilometers per hour, so we can go up to 80 kilometers per hour. But essentially, with the the stations are so nearby that practically you will never cross 40. So we have actually overdone it, and that is the way it should be done. So I'm very hopeful that as soon as the thing will be, the inquiry will be completed by the Chief Commissioner of Railway Security, we shall be able to start the metro.
The residents of Kharghar, Kamote, Taloja, they have been complaining of water issue. So when is this problem going to be resolved?
Yeah, that's it is a complaint which is coming mainly through social media and through electronic communication. And so Kharghar is essentially getting water from Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation. So via Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation, it gets it via the MIDC, or it gets water from MJP. So that is how the water is coming. And since it is coming through different organizations, so obviously those organizations absorb extra water when they need it. So if Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation needs more water, obviously they will draw that little bit of water. But suppose they draw even 5 million liters, it disturbs the hydraulics. And once the hydraulics are disturbed, it takes 24 to 72 hours to restore the normal hydraulics. And that's why the problem of water. Same thing happens, say MIDC gives more water to drink to any other municipal council, then again the same problem happens. So on the short run, so we have decided to tackle this on a short run, medium run, and the long run. In the short run, the easiest thing to do is to audit the trunk mains and to find out what are the unauthorized connections that are there. So we are taking a drive to cut down the unauthorized connections, and almost 4 million liters of additional water has been made available because of that. 4 million liters, it's a big number. And we are also regularly having meetings with the Municipal Corporation of Navi Mumbai and with MIDC. And in fact, because of their help and their coordination and cooperation, we have been able to increase the water supply at Kharghar. So that is one. The second is that we are trying to increase the, improve the efficiency. Now, the entire Navi Mumbai project, the water supply is not based on gravity. It's based on pumping. And therefore, the hydraulics are pretty weak. And since it is based on pumping, that is why the reason of this 24 to 48 hour time, that is required. Everything has to come into coordination. Now, so we have appointed a reputed engineering consultant. In fact, the country's premier #1 engineering consultant, Tata Consulting Services, or rather Tata Consulting Engineers, to do a water audit of this area. So this will tell us who's drawing more water than what he needs, and who's drawing less water, who's getting less and who's getting more. What is the equitability? If X society says, I'm getting less water, then is he getting less than 135 LPCD? Or is he getting as much as 135 LPCD and he has been using 300 earlier and he's not getting it? So we'll get that reply. So that is the second thing. But in the long run, we are trying to do system improvement and we are trying to increase the source. For increasing the source, we have reserved more water at Hitaune. We have reserved more water at MJP in Patalganga. And in both these projects, we have become partners. So we are working with them. And we are also looking at developing the Balganga Dam and the Kondane dams. Now, the Balganga and the Kondane Dam were caught up with various legal issues. So we are resolving those legal issues. And we have started the process of land acquisition, rehabilitation, forest clearance, diversion of forest land, which are primarily the first things to be done before the work starts. So all those things have to be done. So we have started that work. And at the same time, so all these things when done together, And finally, as we are able to improve the hydraulics, the water supply will be better. I feel that in the short run, we will definitely, we have been able to get more water into Palghar. We have been able to, not Palghar, sorry, Kharghar, and we have been able to get more water to the people. But I think that water is something which is only going to be scarcer by the day. And there is absolutely no, no alternative to saving water. And each of us have to realize that we may be staying in a high rise. See, when you live in a high rise and you live in a bigger flat, so in our calculation, suppose you live in a smaller flat, you assume that there are lesser people living there. And if you're living in a bigger flat, you assume that there are more people living there. But it is actually the reverse. In a small 1-bedroom flat, maybe 5 people are living. And in a large 4-bedroom flat, maybe only 2 people are living. But the water utilization would normally be more in a larger flat. So there is a huge issue of equity in this case. And I think that's where every citizen also has to cooperate with the government and with all the NGOs who are working in this sector, and save as much water as possible.
CIDCO is building mega housing project under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Can you please tell us a little bit more about this?
Yes, so we have started building houses under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. This is a scheme of having more than 1 lakh houses. So the idea is to build so many houses that people are able to buy houses. And CIDCO houses, they are affordable and there is a guarantee. The guarantee is that over the period of time, CIDCO has built a brand for itself. These are litigation free, clear title, vacant possession, and then all your other things like water supply, electricity connection, sewerage, parking, amenities, etc. are taken care of. So we are doing this over various locations of the New Bombay project, So in the city of New Bombay, in the city of Panvel, in the areas like Kharghar, Kalamboli, Karanjade, Ulve, Dronagiri, etc., etc. So in various places we are building these houses. Out of this 1 lakh houses, 15,500 houses are complete. And out of them, 7,000 houses have already been distributed and allocated to various beneficiaries. Now, very recently, we had started a scheme for the COVID warriors. So we kept 3,500 houses for them. And we had 1,000 odd houses which we had reserved for uniformed personnel. And out of this, now the scheme is over. And we had promised the COVID warriors that we can't give you the location, but definitely we can give you a house. So the phase 1 lottery is over. In the phase 1 lottery, those who had asked, suppose you want Kalamboli, so you can get Kalamboli, but there would be those who did not get Kalamboli. So they come in the phase 2 lottery. That is an optional thing if they want. Then among the areas that we advertised, they would be definitely be allotted 1 flat in the lottery. So that was our promise that we would give you a flat. We can't assure you the location. The location will be within the precincts of the Navi Mumbai project. And that's how we are doing. So that is something which has happened. And furthermore, the remaining roughly 85,000 houses, they are under construction. And the work is going on full steam.
There is a lot of confusion among, I think, the citizens with regards to role of CIDCO vis-a-vis the Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation in Navi Mumbai. Can you please tell us about this?
Well, CIDCO is the development agency. So as our logo says that we build cities. So the job of CIDCO is to build the city, and then the job of the municipal corporation is to take over the city from the developer, that is CIDCO, and then operate the city. So in case of Navi Mumbai city, that is the Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation, the nodes have been handed over to the corporation in 1994. And the handing over of certain plots, open spaces, etc., that has all happened. That is all done. However, CIDCO was still continuing to be the New Town Development Authority. And therefore, CIDCO would be spending some money and doing some development work there. But essentially, the corporation has inherited an entire city, and it has inherited a solid tax base, a very strong taxpayer base. So that's what has happened. So now the government of Maharashtra has passed a notification, and they have withdrawn the powers of New Town Development Authority from CIDCO. So CIDCO is no longer the New Town Development Authority. So it will not carry out those type of development activities within the city of Navi Mumbai. And at the same time, it will not acquire land within the city of Navi Mumbai. So no land acquisition in Navi Mumbai, no development activities in Navi Mumbai unless the government gives a specific mandate. So that's how it is. And CIDCO will now focus on the other areas which are left outside the city of Navi Mumbai, but which are a part of the Navi Mumbai project. So we will complete the land acquisition there, and we will do the development in that part, and we will develop those parts. And of course, CIDCO will focus on the Naina project. So Navi Mumbai is now a grown-up city, and now it is left to its own. CIDCO, however, continues to be a landowner in Navi Mumbai city. So as a leaser, it is a landowner. It will continue to collect the lease premium, and it will continue to have the rights which a leaser has.
How is Naina project progressing? I mean, is the acquisition of land, that issue has been completed, solved?
So in Naina, we have actually made some progress. TPS 1 is finally approved. So the final approval of TPS 1 has come from the government, and we have actually completed part of the development also. In fact, most of the development is also over. So if you go visit TPS 1, then you'll see the roads are all made, the pavements are there, drains are in place, etc. So TPS 1 is almost done. It was our first project. TPS 2 and TPS 3, TPS 2 has been very recently approved by the government. The notification has gone for printing, so it will come in a few days. And TPS 3 is in the last stages of approval. So these are three things. Now, as far as TPS 4, 5, 6, and 7 are concerned, they have just been received from the Director of Town Planning. So the City Survey Department has to do the measurement, and that measurement process of the City Survey Department is in process. And the other parts, that is 9, 10, and 11, we are going to publish the draft plan very soon of Naina. So Naina, I think, has made a huge progress in the last 1 year, and TPS 1 almost complete, final approval. TPS 2 just approved. TPS 3 will be approved very soon. 4, 5, 6, 7, we have been able to get the Director Town Planner's opinion. Now, what I have done is that I have sent a proposal to the government that the difference between the New Bombay project and the Naina project is essentially the mode of land acquisition. In the New Bombay project, CIDCO acquired lands under the MRTP Act or the Land Acquisition Act. Whereas in Naina, it is a partnership whereby you give him 40% of the land, but you give him an FSI of 2.5, thereby giving him practically the entire land back in form of FSI. And you take 60%. In that 60%, you develop the roads, the infrastructure, the open spaces, and also all the social amenities, the economically weaker housing, and little bit of that land which remains, something like 7 to 8%, that you monetize and you fund the project. So that is the essential model of the town planning scheme of Naina. However, in the Navi Mumbai project, CIDCO is a one-stop shop. So the responsibility, the buck stops at CIDCO. Whereas in Naina, there are several agencies. So we have requested the government that here also you make the buck stop at CIDCO and make the managing director of CIDCO responsible for, finally responsible. So he would be giving all the approvals. At the same time, the buck would stop at his table, that whether he has done the work or not done the work. So that matter we have submitted to the government. We are hopeful that the government will examine it and we'll get an appropriate decision in that at the soonest. But yes, definitely Naina has seen a lot of speed in the last year, and we intend to use the speed in the days to come.
Please tell us about the socio-economic welfare measures that is being undertaken by CIDCO.
So the socio-economic measures that we take are keeping the project affected people, at the center of our thinking. And for the project affected people, we give them scholarships, and that we continue to do in the developing nodes of CIDCO, which is mainly in the Raigad district. And also we, like when we rehabilitated the airport, not only have we given them plots for their homes, but we have given them schools, we have given them assistance for even building the Gao Mandir, So that is the key thing in the socio-economic thing. Secondly, we always believe that just developing the city means just developing residential and commercial things do not add value. To add value, you need to have sports facilities, you need to have open spaces, you need to have old age homes, you need to have working women's hostels, you need to have marriage halls, community centers, etc., etc. And CIDCO is today looking very, very deeply into these things. And in fact, I'm happy to tell you that we are building a center of excellence in football in Kharghar, near the corporate park. In fact, the work of the corporate park has already started through this. And we are building 4 international style pitches, football pitches. And just across that, we have identified land, which we have given to the National Rugby Association. And very soon the Rugby Association would be building a facility where the best rugby in India would be played. So we'll be getting a new age sport, that is rugby, in the precinct of Navi Mumbai. In addition to that, we are upgrading our golf course. So the golf course of CIDCO is a 9-hole golf course, and it is a public golf course. So anybody can come, pay and play. Elsewhere, you need to be a member of that club. And it's very difficult to become a member of the club. And you need the right connections to be a member of a club. This is a pay and play course, and this will be available even for coaching and training. So if anybody within the precincts of MMR or even from Pune wants to learn golf, he can come here. So that is something which we are doing, upgrading the course to an 18-hole golf course. Similarly, we are in touch with and we are talking with various associations like the Maharashtra State Lawn Tennis Association, the Mumbai Cricket Association, the Maharashtra State Kabaddi Association, the Shooting Association, etc. So that all these sports activities and sports facilities come within the precinct of Navi Mumbai. And as all these facilities come in the precinct of Navi Mumbai, obviously there will be greater value in living in this city. And other than the larger projects, we are also working to make these facilities available at the mohalla level, which will be at a smaller scale. So you have a neighborhood place to play, right? So we have a policy whereby we give grants to certain institutions where they can develop playgrounds, and that playground they can use during the office hours, and in the non-office hours they would be able to, it would be made available to the public. So these are new initiatives which we are taking, and we hope that these initiatives will be successful, and the people of Navi Mumbai and the people of the Navi Mumbai project, that is Panvel, New Panvel, Kamote, Kalamboli, etc. All of them get benefit of this, and we are able to help them maintain and improve their quality of life.
There's a long pending demand to shift garbage dumping ground from in from Boripakari. And in fact, the Uran Municipal Council has also, through district collector, has requested CIDCO to hand over some alternative site for the dumping ground. What is the progress in this regard?
So essentially, for dumping grounds, the principle of the polluter pays has to be the case. You cannot have free dumping. And so CIDCO operates a dumping ground itself. And that is a scientifically operated solid waste management center. And but however, we do not charge a tipping fee from the municipal corporation. So Panvel Municipal Corporation dumps there. And Uran Municipal Council is also welcome to dump there. But there is no tipping fee. And therefore, we are working a model whereby the tipping fee will be charged. Once tipping fee is charged, then there is a responsibility which comes with it. All of us are contributing to pollution as we live our lives. We create a little bit of garbage. We use some amount of electricity. We use some amount of petrol. So all of us are contributing to it. And today the principle is that he who creates this pollution, whatever amount it might be, should pay. So that is the model, and we are working at making a project on the public-private partnership mode to handle solid waste. And the reason we are looking at this is that it introduces discipline in this whole system. And second is, the worldwide, like even CPHU of Government of India, they also advise that from waste, we move to wealth, and you draw as much wealth as you possible from waste. So like you can generate electricity from that, or you can reclaim a dumping ground, and you can reclaim all the resource derived fuel from that. You can reclaim the inerts from that, and you can make bricks out of that, and you can get some amount of income from that, and the land which is spread out, that also can be monetized, and that can be used. So we are looking to that. Now, as far as the Uran Municipal Council is concerned, CIDCO is looking land for them and has suggested certain sites, but essentially the Supreme Court mandates that it is the collector of the district who will have to identify a government land which has to be given to them. And I believe that action is also going on at the level of the collector of Raigad.
Sir, what is future plans of CIDCO for Navi Mumbai?
Well, CIDCO has kept the common man, the middle class, the lower income group as as a Kendra Bindu, as they say. And CIDCO will always keep in mind the efforts and the contribution made by the project affected people who have given their lands and who have made this entire city and who has made this. It was sort of a dream when it started in 1970. So CIDCO has always kept that in mind, and that is going to be the focus for the future. So all the projects that we are doing, they have a rehabilitation component, and that rehabilitation component is among the best in the country, so that is one. And second is, all of them are towards making the life of the common man simple. So whether it is mass housing, whereby you are providing houses to everyone, not only are you providing houses to everyone, these houses are being made available at a price which is very, very, lesser than the ones comparatively available in the private sector. So on one hand, so you are a market maker, you are setting a price level. So whether it is that project, whether it is a metro project, which will make, commuting easier, whether it is a suburban rail corridors. So I'm happy to tell you that almost all the clearances for the suburban rail corridors have now been obtained. Things which were pending from 1996, we have got those clearances. For example, the most famous one of them is the Seawoods-Nerul-Uran line. So there we have got the working permission from Government of India, and now the railways are free to execute that particular project. So all these projects are essentially keeping the common man in mind. Now, in the area outside the Navi Mumbai city, mainly in Karanjade node, in that area, we have identified places for a health city or a medicity, a techno city, an institutional city. So the idea is that in the medicity, there can be a medical college, there can be, centers of excellence like in neuroscience and in psychiatry and in pediatric cardiology, etc. So we can have a cluster there. So if it becomes a center where anybody can come and anybody can stay there, and then you can get the best advice there. So that is something we have thought of, and we have kept land for that separately. Similarly, a techno city. A techno city is somewhere where technology, is an easier and a better known thing is a technology park. A technology park is essentially a building. A techno city would be an entire city. So we have earmarked space for that. And we have kept something called as an institutional city. So we have kept space for that as well. That's another allocation that we have made. So various government institutes. So when they come in, then what happens? They bring with themselves a class of salaried people who, it increases, they contribute in the city's development and they contribute to the city's market. So we have kept separate space for the institutional cities, where we hope that the top national institutes, when they come to the state of Maharashtra and the government of Maharashtra, and they ask for land, then we have the land available for them. At the same time, when the airport is coming up, so we have the very famous Aero City, which is coming up next to the airport. So now that the airport work has taken off, so as the Aero City's work will be, it will be one step behind the airport's work. That's how it has to be timed. So that is, but it will go along with the airport. So as the airport is developing, the Aero City also has to develop in tandem with it. So we are having that Aero City. So these type of activities are being thought of, and connectivity is the key in this thing. The MSRDC would now be constructing the Virar-Alibag multimodal corridor, and that multimodal corridor would actually be benefiting the JNPT. So traffic would go along the Virar-Alibag multimodal corridor all the way to JNPT, and when this happens, JNPT and the area around it gets a huge boost, and that benefits again this particular area. So between Mumbai and Pune, so you have a coastal road of Mumbai, you have the MTHL, you have the coastal road connector, which will connect the coastal road to the MTHL. And once you land at Navi Mumbai, then you have various connectors, and then you have the coastal road of Navi Mumbai, which is now coming up. So which will connect Palm Beach Road and the airport with this MTHL, and so all these connections all will come up. So therefore, this will become a sort of a continuous corridor in the days to come, and it is expected to increase the GDP of the entire nation by 1%. So that is what is expected as per the studies, So this is what I see, that Navi Mumbai is in a threshold of development, and most of the projects will be completed by 2024. So by that logic, 2025 is a year when, the flower will bloom, fully. So that is the future as one sees it. However, of course, I must add that a famous disclaimer, force majeure always applies. Who thought COVID would come? COVID came, it has pushed us back by several years. So assuming that there is no such force majeure condition, I think the Navi Mumbai, because of its geographical location and because of its, the various activities which are happening in that area, and because of the cooperation of the people who live in that area, I think Navi Mumbai is poised for a big leap now.
On the occasion of Diwali, what message would you like to give to the viewers?
Well, happy Diwali to everybody, and happy Diwali to you also. And I hope that everybody has a bright, prosperous, and of course, a very peaceful Diwali.
On behalf of the entire team of Newsband, I wish you, sir, a very happy Diwali, and all the viewers a very happy and prosperous Deepavali. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and happy Diwali once again.